Let's get stuck now. and then she falls and dips. I don't know.
Vincent is Black Boy Joy personified. As an openly gay musician, Vincent brings some much needed representation of pop music where he sings about boys and stuff, according to his Twitter. He released his debut EP, The Feeling, in 2020, and has also been featured on Queer Eye's trailer for season 5 with his smash hit, Be Me. He's a big fan of Logo Live, and we are a big fan of his. Please welcome Vincent. Vincent!
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I am splendid. I am
Good.
So well. Yes.
You look well. Tell me, what are you giving? I see a nice little white sweater with a ring on the necklace. What are you giving me today on Logo Live?
I'm giving a bit of jewelry, a bit of borrowed sweater. You're obviously giving me ring light. I'm giving you natural light. You know,
we love
things, money, trying. We're all doing things. Things are different for everyone, you know? I'm here to judge.
So I want to get into the music. I want to get into it all, obviously. But I first wanted to ask you, as someone that came out at around like 14, 15, 16, I'm gagged because you came out around 5 or 6. How was that? What was that like?
I came out unintentionally because I didn't know what it was. Obviously, I was 5 and 6. But I grew up in a household where sexuality was never a spoken thing. Like there was never a conversation about it in any context of it being wrong. We just kind of lived our lives and things were as they were. We were churchgoers, but we also very much loved each other and were very, very supportive. So when I came home and I was like, Mom, I want to have a boy over to watch a movie. It's a date. And she was like, hi, you're 6, chill. And I was like, no, you chill, because Robin just had a boy over and that was a date. This is a date. Make the popcorn, get the Capri Sun, let's do it. And then I'm sure my parents had a conversation later that night, like alone in the privacy of their bedroom, and was like, hey, should we talk to them about it? And they never did until I was like much older. And then the conversation happened again, and it was more so, hi, this is who I am. You know that. Get used to it. You're in it. You love it. We love each other. It's fine. There was never a conversation in my own head of, I'm gonna tell you who I am, because I feel like you didn't need to tell me who you were, so why should I have to tell you who I am? I think because I grew up in such a way that was so different from my peers, where I went to kindergarten. From kindergarten to 12th grade, I went to Catholic school, and all I knew was structure and religion and everything else. So I left that at school, and at home, it wasn't like that. It was like, hi, are you good? Are you happy? Do you care about others? Are you kind to others? That's what matters. Focus on that and just be you in the process. Learn from everywhere else. And my mother taught me the greatest lesson. She was like, hi, I raised you. You know how to be good, so just be good.
Well, it's funny because we were both, I was also raised religious. So that's always been a really big part of me. And even to today, I feel very spiritual in my own way. But I wanted to ask you, because of how you grew up and, the music that you make almost feels very spiritual in its own way. Are you still a spiritual person, or does that, dictate anything in your life today, having already grown up?
I am still very religious. I wouldn't call myself a churchgoer because the way that my mouth is set up and the way that church people's mouths are set up, things don't really go hand in hand. And so I know when to remove myself from a bad situation. I very much believe that there is an entity, a source, a godlike figure somewhere looking out for us. And I also believe that we are supposed to act right. Like, it's not just on that person to make sure things go well. Like, you're a human being, you make your own decisions, figure out how to be good to other people, and don't depend on this like source that you think is almighty and all powerful to like make things right for you, because that's bullshit. You know what I mean? We're all assigned a path in life, and how we walk it is up to us.
Right. I always tell my mom, because my mom's also very spiritual, but she's always checking in on my journey and like, that's God. The reason you got that was because God. I'm like, Mom, I have my own relationship with spirituality. Like, I don't need you to do check-ins. Just like the folks at church, I don't need y'all to tell me how my relationship looks with God, because that's exactly why religion like this works, is because you don't listen to other people's ideas of what it should be, and rather you take what you need from it. You know what I mean?
Literally that. The times I have cursed out a church person for telling me, you better give more thanks for what you have because God, and I'm like, sister, sit down and mind your business. I've had my conversation with God this morning over my nice gin and tonic, but mind your business.
You know, Jesus just drinks, so.
Jesus made wine, so don't come for me. Okay.
Well, now the music, I want to get into it because I love it so, so much. Your music was one of my most played this past year in 2020, which is so great. And also, your concert at the Troubadour was like probably the last thing I saw before going into lockdown. So one, thank you. And two, you've kept the girls fed all pandemic. Are there any songs specifically that you are super proud of that you worked on?
First and foremost, thank you for coming to that show. That was my EP release show, and it was February 17th. And it was one of the most magical nights of my entire life. Like, I just put the EP out like 4 days before, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna put on a show for like 1,500 people, hope they come. And it sold out within like days. And I was like, T, your girl still got it. Here we go. I'm proud of all the songs. Like, you have to understand that I think for most creatives and musicians specifically, when we dream about doing this, everyone's always like, I can't believe I made it here. And this is like, it's blowing my mind. And it's like, no, but really though, the fact that I put out music and people, let alone listen to it and know the words, that is more than I could have ever asked for. So whenever anything above that happens, I'm like 100% in tears, crying in a corner. My manager's like, get up, you have a show. I think of songwriting as therapy because I need to release a lot of anxiety that I hold just because I'm a psychopath. And I need to put it in some kind of place where I can give it to someone else, see what they do with it, and learn how they heal from it, and maybe learn the lesson in that as well. And so when I write the songs, I'm like, yo, this is a baby that I love, but then I throw the baby out the window. And I'm like, great, catch it. I don't want it anymore.
For me, Save Myself and Please Don't Fall in Love were like, they really got me through a couple months there where I was like, whoo. And like the lyrics were, I'm just like walking down the street because I don't have a car. I'm like, oh my God, I was dying. But I do want to ask you about the writing. What is your writing process like when you're creating?
Either I'll walk into a session and I'll sit down and it'll just pour out. And I'm like, great, this is really cool. I'm really good at music. Or like the psychopath that I naturally am, I'm walking on the street and I'll literally just start talking out loud as I do all the time. It'll just be something that's repeating in my head. And I'll be like, God, I need to write this down. I'll take out my voice memos. If you went through my phone, you would think that I was Hannibal Lecter. From all the mumbles that I have inside of my phone and all of just the lyrics and the random, like, you should write about this. I'll be on my phone. I'm like, hi, you're really sad right now. You should write about this later. I'll go into a session with songwriters and I'll say, hi, I've been really thinking about this subject for a really long time, or this happened, and I have this melody. Would you like to hear it? And it usually just kind of like flows out. It works out that way. It comes as if it's meant to be there. And so whenever that happens, I become a vessel and I let it be used. I let myself be used.
I mean, one of the things I love about your music also is that it's so specifically unapologetically queer about loving who you love. And like that just, it touches me in such a way because, you know, we have our divas and things like that, but it's very seldom that we see ourselves in the music. And I just wanted to ask you, what does that feel like to know that you have little Black gay boys and little, like, you know, just gay boys listening to your music and seeing themselves through you?
Not me getting emotional. Not me about to cry. That's overwhelming for me because I didn't have someone who looked like me when I was growing up. And while yes, there was Billy Porter and Luther Vandross, who was not out, but we love her. There were Black male singers, gay male singers who were out, but weren't given the spotlight. Sylvester wasn't put in the spotlight. There were people who were never given that platform, so I never got the chance to see them. And I made that decision. I was on this TV show. We don't got to talk about it, but I was on this TV show and my mission was, I went into the producers round and I was like, hi, I will do this if I can go on TV and just sing and be myself. Because I've never seen a TV show or a singing reality show where there was someone Black and gay and they weren't the butt of a joke. It wasn't about the fact that they could sing or they were really good at what they did. And I went in there and I was like, I love what I do and I'm really good at it. If you just let me be good at it, that's all you'll need. I promise. And I've gotten messages from kids from Philly and from New York and from Miami and from England and from Africa. And they're like, yo, I can't believe that you're out here doing this. And I look like you and that's so cool. I write songs now and I make music. And for me, I'm like, tight. I don't need to do anything other than be myself to let you know
Mm.
that it's cool to be yourself, because we don't see ourselves in the mainstream media. That's not who, like, I just made a post about it yesterday. We don't see ourselves. We see pop girls. And while we love, the gays love pop girls, I don't see myself in Britney Spears. I don't see myself in Ariana Grande. Like, I stand the music and I'm here for it. I don't see myself in Beyonce. Beyonce's a Black woman, and that is in and of itself a godlike thing for me anyway. But I want to see myself.
Right.
You know, there's never been a gay Black pop star who sings and like is on stage and is on caliber with them. And I don't want that to be the future for much longer. Like, I got plans.
Well, here
and
he
I
is.
want to change it.
Here he is.
We'll see.
What about the sounds that you heard growing up, or what you listen to today that really says, oh, this inspires me to do what I do?
I grew up on Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, India Arie, Beyonce, Mariah Carey. Like, I grew up on the
singers.
I very rarely listen to people who cannot sing, and so it's funny to me that you would say that. Yeah, I only listen to divas because that's what my mom and my dad played in the house. We played Black music for sure, like good R&B and good soul music. Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, Dionne Warwick, Luther Vandross, Earth, Wind, and Fire. I listened to all these great legends, but then I found myself in the women who were speaking about the things that they were overcoming. Like, for some reason, men are trash and they don't listen to women when they speak. And these women were like, oh, no, I'm sorry. You're gonna listen to me, and I'm gonna get the world to listen to me too, and I'm gonna change things. And that just, I was like, okay, great. They have enough courage to stand up and say, this is who I am, this is what I want, and I'm gonna get it, regardless of whether you like it or not. And for me, that was so empowering. I was like, okay, bitch, me too. Like, I'll do it too.
You just had one of your songs, Be You, as the song for the trailer for past season of Queer Eye. Just tell me how you felt about it.
Kind of nuts. I got a call the day after the show, the day after the Troubadour show. And the producers of Queer Eye were like, hi, does Vincent have any music? We would love to have a new song. We're gonna feature a queer artist for the first time as one of the theme songs for the season. And I was like, yeah, I sent over maybe like 3 or 4 songs that I hadn't released. And I was like, do you like any of these? And they were like, no, not really. And I was like, well, if you give me like a night, I can write a song for you if you want. I called the boys from Fly By Midnight, and we sat together. I called them that night and I was like, hi, I'm coming over. We need to write a song because we're gonna get this. And my manager, Bradley, looked at me and he's like, you're not gonna get this with that attitude. Just like, be humble. And I was like, no, sis, I feel it in my bones. It's coming. If this is gonna happen. We were trying to figure out how to say, I wasn't waiting for someone to save me, because I had already done that with Save Myself. And we were and these are 2 straight men who fully don't know the gay experience, but they probably know it through me now. But I was like, well, who are you waiting for? Like, who are you trying to find that's gonna save you? And one of the boys, Justin, was like, me. And I was like, are you just waiting for yourself to be you? And he was like, yeah. I was like, so you're waiting for me to be me. And from then on, we just kind of like tunnel vision. And by the next morning, we sent over a demo, and the producer was like, this is it. The team loves it. Can you just finesse it and just like add a bunch of just like coverings and everything else, like the frosting on the cake, and we sent it the next day and waited for 4 months because they didn't give us the okay. And I was like, tight, we didn't get it. I'm gonna go home now. 2 weeks before it came out, because Netflix has this thing where they're like, we cannot tell you that you got it because you talk too much. And we want it to be a surprise. And they called and they were like, your song is it and we love it. And I like wept, cried, an emotional girl.
We stand your emotionality, especially on this show, because I am a crier on all accounts. You released Hard to Forget in July, Certified Bop, We Live, We Stand.
Yeah.
Where's the new music? I hate to Rihanna you right now, but where's the new bops?
I had last year written an entire album and scraped it all because none of it felt right. I put out Hard to Forget and I was like, this is it. This is the moment. This is where my mind is. And it is. It very much was. And the rest of the album didn't reflect that. And then the riots happened and the protest happened. And I was just like, white people are nuts and Black people are still not being heard. And I feel stressed and I need to figure out what I can do to get myself out of the space that I'm in. And I took a therapy lesson that I learned from my therapist a long time ago. And I took all the things that I needed to address in my life and I wrote them on index cards. And I covered my room in all these index cards. And every day I'd grab an index card and I'd confront a problem. And in this process, I was writing. I was like, great, I need to write about that because that's something that I need to really get over and I don't know how to do that. Whether it was self-defeat or my anger or my jealousy or my longing for love or my distrust of men or my distaste for white people who didn't speak up for Black people or the stupid Black squares that everyone painted, like just everything that really bothered me, I needed to write about. And I decided to like escape into this little world that I created in my room. And I wrote an album, and it's about love and escapism and self-empowerment and more than anything, longing just for what we lost in this last year. There were so many things personally in my life that I thought were going to happen and was already set up and they were just taken away. And then I looked outside of myself and I said, there are thousands, millions of people who had the same things happening for them this year and they were gone. And the next thought was, God, in the midst of all this, all I want to do is dance in the middle of a club. All I want to do is take off my shirt, ignore everyone around me, and just dance with everyone in the club and just feel the presence of human beings around me. And I had forgotten what that felt like. And so I said, this is going to be this album. And so that's what I did. I wrote an album. It's some of the best music I've ever made because it wasn't from a place of like, oh, this man broke my heart. It was more so I needed to find out what feeling like a human being felt again because I had forgotten because there was so much thrown at us this past year. Like the amount of death, the amount of idiot politics, and just so many things took us away from being human. I was in my phone every day or on my computer every day. And I felt myself losing a bit of my soul. And I was like, I got to figure out what it feels like to be alive again because I don't know what that is.
When we get back to the club with our shirts off, dancing in a crowd of people, what is one song or two songs that you've heard over this past year, this past pandemic, that you just need to get out of your body in the club?
Body by Megan Thee Stallion. Now. And I need to dance to Savage at one point in the club. I just need to hear it. I want to break my spinal cord to that song. Do you hear me? I want to be nailed to the wall because I can't move because I've hurt my body so much from dancing. I'm just ready to just be free in a public space with human beings.
I hope that I'm there when that happens because that is going to be.
You will be. There'll be an ambulance as well.
Just waiting outside, ready to go.
No, for sure.
Well, that's the end of the interview. I'm so happy that we could have this moment and this time.
Yeah, not this water, not this full glass of ice water. I can't.